It's time for your midweek Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, April 7th. There's a hive of activity at schools around the island as preparation continues in earnest for the resumption of face-to-face classes on April 20th. Chief Education Officer Joy Adamson provided a full update as she led a tour of the Blackman and Gollop Primary School today that was handed back to the Ministry of Education after being used as a COVID-19 isolation facility.
The principals and their staff and the management team, they've started to go to the schools and they're looking now to set up the rooms at least at the primary for the exam classes and for the secondary at the exam classes as well. The ministry, we have started to procure equipment and should start distributing that to the primary schools. The secondary schools have started to do their own procurement as it relates to extra sanitizer, alcohol, spray bottles. Some persons are purchasing shields for the teachers, so those things have already started. So during this week and next week, that will continue. There's some schools next week that we will probably be doing some tours at to just make sure that everything is in place. For sure, LTG was one that had been closed for a while, and we will be making sure that all those schools are ready.
Some 214 school monitors will be assisting with the enforcement of COVID-19 protocols when schools reopen, and according to Adamson, they will be undergoing training. She also disclosed that talks are ongoing with the Transport Board on the safe transport of students.
We've had meetings with the Transport Board. I'm in contact with Ms. Linda Holder and Gina, who will be responsible for the school buses. Now, currently, the protocol says it's 75% capacity on the buses, and especially the schools that rely on school buses, the Lodge, Allen School, Grantley Adams, we have to make sure that we have the capacity on those routes to make sure the children can get access to school. So that is something that we have already started a discussion, and they will continue to do it until that capacity changes. But currently we have to work with the 75%.
Meanwhile, President of the Blackman and Gollop Parent Teachers Association, Tricia Augustin, told the media the school is spick and span and is ready for the return of students and staff.
Having gone through the process before, as in last year, I wasn't really, and quite a few parents, we weren't really as concerned about the extent of the sanitization process. I think it was just the fact that last year we would have had a longer period of time for the school to have been decommissioned and then reused versus this time being a lot shorter. But I feel comfortable now, having gone through it, having talked to health officials and so on, that based on when cleaning was completed on the 29th of March and school reopening on the 20th of April, that we are ready for children to return to school. I know parents are eager for children to return to school, and I think our role as parents right now is just to talk to our kids prior to re-entering the school environment, to reiterate protocols and the importance of following the rules and that type of thing within this environment.
In other news this Wednesday, from Bridgetown to St. George's, authorities in the Spice Isle are preparing to welcome outgoing Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., Petra Roach, to help Grenada reopen safely and reposition its tourism product. Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Barry Collymore, tells Barbados Today Roach is poised to be the new Chief Executive Officer of the GTA, and they're excited to have her expertise.
We needed to find someone who was an international marketer to lead the country's international marketing organization. And we thought that she was the best candidate interviewed. She will be almost laser focused, not almost, she will be laser focused on international marketing, on getting tourists here into Grenada. We will not have her perform some of the other administrative duties that the CEO would normally perform, as we want her totally focused on marketing. As the head of the organization, we focused on marketing, and to support her, we will appoint a chief operations officer to support some of the other admin functions. But we're excited, and we thought that she could be the person to get us, to help us reopen safely and indeed reposition our product.
Government delivers its clearest signal yet. There will be a crop over this year, but it's anyone's guess what the festival will look like. Minister in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for culture, John King, told reporters there will be changes and the plan will be outlined at month end.
Crop over, as people envision it in the past, really, with all the things that are going on, cannot be in the same way as we would envision it. Those meetings right now are ongoing. We'll hopefully, before the end of this month, be able to put out a full statement as to how it's going to look, how it's going to shape like. In fact, actually, we were supposed to have one of our meetings this morning, but then we just finished this, so we just had to push that back a little later on. But I'll be able to give you a full statement on what it's going to look like, how it's going to be done, all that. But we're really looking at extending the season of emancipation. So like I said, it will be a new look crop over, but there will be events and different things, but not in the form that people are accustomed to.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back to Regional Developments. Guyana's Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony reports that more patients are being hospitalized with what appears to be a more aggressive version of COVID-19.
In Guyana, over the last month or so, we've started seeing an uptick of more cases. And well, it's not in every region. We have seen those cases happening more in Region 4, in Region 3, and in Region 7. And out of seeing more cases, we have started seeing more hospitalization. So as of today, we right now have about 70 persons in hospitals. We have 54 at the Ocean View Hospital. We have persons at the Linden Hospital, West Demerara Hospital, and New Amsterdam Hospital. So our regional hospitals, we now have more COVID patients coming into them because they require assistance in breathing.
On the international front, the European Medicines Agency said today that it found a possible link between the AstraZeneca corona vaccine and a rare clotting disorder, but recommended that vaccinations continue in adults, saying the benefits of the shot will outweigh the risks.
And now, of course, they're still hammering that message home that the risk-benefit analysis still says that you should be taking it. The Pharmacovigilance Risk Assessment Committee, which is the committee that evaluates the safety of medicines for the EMA, they have always said that that is their priority. You have to weigh the risks against the benefits. And because so many people are dying of COVID and getting sick from COVID, they still think that taking this vaccine, even with this very small risk attached, definitely outweighs the risk of not having this vaccine available and many more people getting infected.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay and supermarkets at gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.